can try and win championships, and that's what it's all about. When you look from the outside and you watch this team, I know we're going to have a real good, solid hockey team this year.
Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined by my co-host, Eric Wilson. And today we have a little bit of New York Rangers breaking news. They have announced the new captain of the Rangers, Jacob Trouba. And we're going to discuss and react to that news and also discuss maybe why we feel Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, maybe it should have went to them. Maybe they were snubbed. But also, we'll go ahead and say I think Jacob Trouba was a great selection. So before we dive into all of this and discuss the new captain of the New York Rangers, how are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great. This is some pretty exciting news that Rangers fans have been waiting a very long time for. Trouba is going to be the first captain since Ryan McDonough was traded to the Lightning just prior to the trade deadline back in 2018. So it's been a good 5 years since we had someone wear the C for the New York Rangers. So, no matter if you like this decision or think it's a bad choice, still just exciting news all around.
Absolutely, and the Rangers were close to naming Jacob Trouba the captain before the 2021 and 22 season that just wrapped up, but instead Gerard Gallant opted to go with 6 alternate captains in his first season as the head coach of the Rangers. He cited that as something that worked for him over in Las Vegas, so he wanted to give it a try with the Rangers rather than making Trouba the captain. But 1 year later, he gave it a year with the 6 alternates. Guess he wasn't too crazy about it because now Jacob Trouba has earned that C on his blue shirt, which is super, super exciting. And one of the things that I want to discuss with this topic, kind of combined with it, is the fact that there's been a lot of Rangers fans who have said, take a look at the salary cap right now. The Rangers don't have a lot of space. What are they going to do next year? There's a lot of big contracts coming up that they're going to have to pay. And Jacob Trouba was somebody that a lot of Rangers fans mentioned as a potential trade option. He could be traded one day. But now that he's the captain, I really can't see anything like that happening. I think that Jacob Trouba's future here is cemented in Madison Square Garden with the New York Rangers. And so I'm curious to know your thoughts on that, Eric, just kind of what you think the captain's patch means for the future of Jacob Trouba and the Rangers.
Yeah, I'll just start off by saying I've always thought that Jacob Trouba's contract was one of the worst ones on the team. We signed him to a 7-year, $8 million annual average value contract, or a huge $56 million contract. And, he hasn't really lived up to it that much with his play. He's had a couple good seasons. He played great last season, but overall it kind of seemed like we signed him for too long. We overpaid him just a little bit. We've got him locked up until 2026 now. So I think now that he has the captaincy, we'll definitely see him play out the rest of that contract. So we'll have a good couple more seasons with him as our captain. What happens after that, I'm not sure. I'm assuming we would like to keep him around, but then you look back at Ryan McDonough, who I referenced earlier. He was only the captain for around 4 or 5 years. I don't remember exactly, but I think definitely for a good couple years we can say the trade rumors are done. Maybe after his contract we might let him walk in free agency, but it's definitely safe to say for the rest of his contract he will be a New York Ranger.
Yep, I think the same thing. I think he's kind of locked in here now, especially as the captain. And there is a little bit of controversy surrounding him being named the captain. Some Rangers fans are a little bit upset, just scrolling through Twitter. Here's one tweet that I'll read out real quick. This is from the Garden Faithful. It said, Trouba was nearly bought out last summer, then had a very good regular season, but his Game 3 performance against the Lightning arguably cost them a Cup Finals appearance, and now he's the captain. What did Kreider and Mika do to deserve this? I need answers. That's from Garden Faithful on Twitter. And he does pose a pretty decent question. Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, those guys did seem to be in line for the captaincy. We discussed Mika Zibanejad a couple weeks ago and the leadership role that he played for the Rangers this past season, and he really did a whole lot for them in the playoffs, kind of revitalized the team and pushed them as far as they went. So I'm kind of curious to know your thoughts on that, Eric, just kind of reacting to that tweet from Garden Faithful, kind of discussing how Trouba maybe cost the team a trip to the Cup Finals, and now, kind of snubbing Kreider and Mika. What are your thoughts on that controversy?
Yeah, just really quickly to touch upon that Game 3 performance, Trouba definitely did cost us that game. There's no questioning that. But I do think it is unfair to Trouba to say that the entire series was lost because of him. Hockey is a team sport, and if one player makes a couple of mistakes, you need to rely on the rest of your team to carry through and help them out. So to say that he cost them a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals, I think is pretty unfair. We were still up 2-1 after that game, but definitely that game was his fault. And when it comes to Kreider and Zibanejad, I definitely think the number one player on the team who did deserve the captaincy was Chris Kreider. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers did offer Kreider the captaincy. You know, he's been with the Rangers for the longest out of anyone on the team. And while this has not been confirmed by any sources, I have seen a lot of people like questioning that maybe the Rangers did offer Kreider the captaincy and he declined it. You know, that's always an option that we might have to consider at some point. He might have just not felt like he was the right fit. But and then on the other hand, Zibanejad, I do think Zibanejad is a better option than Trouba. Zibanejad is a very friendly face in the locker room. He's friends with everyone. He's a great leader on the ice, and he's a great player too. But if I had to predict, I think the reason why the Rangers might have chosen Trouba over Zibanejad is because the captaincy doesn't go to your best player. Just because you score goals doesn't mean you can lead a locker room. I think that the difference might have been Trouba. He's a more influential person on and off the ice. Yeah, I can't really see Zibanejad like sticking up for one of the younger players that much, like if they took a dirty hit. But as we saw throughout the playoffs, you know, if anyone on the opposing team tried to mess with any of our players, Trouba was right up in their face defending them. So I think that's definitely a big reason why Trouba was chosen for. He was a very physical player. He made his mark on the ice as much as he can, and he does a lot off the ice too. So it's like, yeah, was Kreider or Zibanejad possibly snubbed? Yeah, they might have been better options, but I'm sure there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we don't know about in the locker room. So I'm not upset with the Trouba decision whatsoever.
Yeah, me neither. And kind of just adding some context to one of the things you said there about, the selection of Trouba. There is also, you got to keep in mind the fact that the players vote on the captain as well. So it's not like it's just Gerard Gallant picking somebody. The players have to approve that kind of decision, and they did vote for him. So kind of tying in with what you said, some Rangers fans are speculating maybe it was offered to Chris Kreider, but Chris Kreider might have turned it down. That's definitely possible. The players might have voted for Kreider, and Kreider said, no, I vote for Trouba. It should be Trouba if he's the second one up, which is just, again, speculation, but that is a possibility because the players do vote on this kind of decision. We've got some great quotes here as well, a couple from Drury and Gallant, and then, of course, some from Trouba himself. So we'll go ahead and dive into those. Once again, though, Jacob Trouba, 2022 season, 81 games played, 39 total points, 28 assists, 11 goals. 28 years old. He's got a pretty decent future in the future with the Rangers here. And it's kind of ironic. He's 28 years old and he's the 28th captain in New York Rangers history. So there's a little fun fact for you in the future if you're going to play some Rangers trivia and take some shots at the frat house. But go ahead here with a quote from Chris Drury. Quote, since he joined the Rangers, Jacob has consistently displayed all of the qualities we want in a leader on and off the ice. As we look to take the next step as an organization, he is a role model for all of our players to follow and the perfect choice to be our captain. So Chris Drury referring to Jacob Trouba as the perfect choice. Definitely think that's interesting word choice and kind of exciting word choice. And I'm not going to say that I completely disagree with him by any means. I do think that Jacob Trouba was an excellent choice. But Eric, what are your thoughts on that? Chris Drury kind of just saying how high of a leader he holds Jacob Trouba to be and how he believes that he was the perfect choice for the Rangers.
I think the funniest part of that quote is when he says he is a role model for all of our players, because you look at just like these last year's playoffs. There was a lot of controversy surrounding Trouba and a lot of hits that he made that were questionably dirty, questionably clean. But, me personally, I might be a little biased, but I think whatever Trouba did was fine. But I think that's like an ironic way to put it as a perfect role model, considering that a lot of the NHL fan base isn't the biggest fan of Jacob Trouba right now. But aside from that, I do think that Drury is correct in that he's a great role model to follow. And I think he is a perfect choice, and that's what's so great about being a Rangers fan right now is that we're out here arguing, should it have been Trouba, Zibanejad, Kreider? It's the fact that we have so many options that would have been perfect, that we have a lot of players on this team who will really help the young guys grow up and learn to be like great NHL players in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is like the number one takeaway. Some Rangers fans are really pissed that this player wasn't selected to be the captain or this player wasn't selected to be the captain. I think it's really great that we have that many strong candidates on this team right now. We'll dive into a quote from Gerard Gallant via the Rangers website today. Quote, right away when I got here, it was clear that Jacob had a certain presence in the locker room and among his teammates that exemplify what you need out of a captain. With where our team is at and where we want to be, he is the right person to lead us there. End quote. And I think that's completely true. I think that this is a player, you're kind of mentioning it there, Eric, how he can be violent on the ice sometimes, and he can leader, you want a captain that you know has your back, that is going to go to war for you, go to battle for you. And I think that's definitely an exciting part of Jacob Trouba as he goes ahead and leads his team towards the future. It's kind of like the alpha dog, the older wolf, kind of raising the wolf pack with all the young guys on the Rangers. Now you have that alpha leader here to kind of go to war for all of them. And I think that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And then you look at Truba's mindset going to the captaincy. He is a veteran player. He's very excited to be the captain. I have this quote from him where he says, "It's a privilege and an honor to be the next captain of the New York Rangers. I know that I'm ready for this. There will be challenges. We will face adversity, but I will give you all I have. Our goal is to try to bring a Stanley Cup to the city. And while I can't promise it, I can promise that I will give you my entire heart trying." And, that's exactly what we need from the captain. We don't want anyone coming out here too cocky, saying, "I will bring the city a Stanley Cup. I will make us the greatest NHL team of all time." But we want someone who really cares about the team and the players on it. And I think that's what we're getting from him.
I completely agree. I think, we all know Jacob Trouba's heart is in the right place. Like I said, he'll go to war. He is a phenomenal leader, and not just on the ice as well. We've talked a lot about what he does on the ice, being a leader, but off the ice, he's also a phenomenal leader and a great character, someone who represents the New York Rangers really well. Here's a quote from the New York Rangers website when they did the press release today announcing Jacob Trouba as their captain. Quote, "A respected voice in the locker room, what Trouba does off the ice is equally remarkable to his performances on the ice. His enthusiastic support of the Garden of Dreams Foundation and Junior Rangers youth hockey has generated a lasting impact with many tri-state area children. His passion for making a difference in youth communities is consistently displayed with his participation in hockey clinics, Make-A-Wishes, and visits to local hospitals," end quote. And I think that is a great way to really wrap up this video. We talked a lot about what he does on the ice. We talked a lot about who some of the other candidates could have been for the captaincy, but just to really wrap this up and drive home the point that this was a good selection, Jacob Trouba is not just an ice captain, he's an off the ice captain. He's a great guy to lead the Rangers on and off the ice, and I think that is the main takeaway when we're taking a look at Jacob Trouba as the next captain of the Rangers. Eric, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's definitely correct. You don't need just someone on the ice who's going to lead you. You want someone to help grow the community as well. The fact that he does love this city, he's been here for a couple years, and it really looks like he cares about the community and he wants to stay for a very long time. So overall, him as a captain, great decision. And I'm really looking forward to see how this changes his game and what he can bring to the table in the years to come.
Absolutely, me too. And I'm excited just to see what it's like for the Rangers to have a captain again. Like you mentioned, they haven't had one since 2018, 6 alternates last year. But now back, Jacob Trouba has the C on his chest. I think it's going to be super interesting to see how that plays out for the Rangers in 2022 to 23. And I'm super excited to watch it all unfold. But let us know what your thoughts are down below over this selection of Jacob Trouba as the next captain. Do you like it? Love it? Hate it? Do you think it should have been someone else? Were Mika and Kreider, were they snubbed? Let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this episode. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. We'll catch you all on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers.
He shoots. He's